Hello again, everyone. It's time for a few more updates. Nothing too big, but some important little changes that you might want to know about. So getting into firmware update 1.5.1, Canon has now added a time check in the viewfinder. And this is a feature that I've been wanting but never really known about it. It's something that I've always wanted to know from time to time is what time of day is it? And I don't wear a watch anymore. And sometimes the phone is hard to access and I would just like to look at it in the camera. So I would go through the menu system to go find the time to take a look at it in there. And it would be nice if it was a little bit easier to find. And that's what Canon has done here. So what they've done is now when you press the exposure compensation button, which is also used as an aperture button in some cases, when you just press that, you get the time of day in the viewfinder, and it's easy to see. Now, this is not on the back monitor of the camera. This is in the viewfinder itself. I think this would probably be very useful for a sports photographer, press, or anybody on a deadline, and they're trying to keep track of the time as well as continue shooting and shoot up to the last minute that they can possibly shoot. And so I think this is a great little feature. If you don't like this, well, there's no real way of turning this off. So I imagine at some point there might be a firmware update where you can turn it off if you really don't want it in there and you find it distracting. Now, if you are putting the camera in, say, one of the semi-automated modes where you can use aperture or exposure compensation, you press the button, you will see the time in there, but you'll also have your standard controls for overexposing or underexposing. If you're in manual exposure, well, it's just going to show it to you there in the corner, and that button really doesn't do anything in manual exposure, so it's a good use of that button when it's not normally doing anything else. All right, another new feature is an erase option for voice memos. So I think I talked about adding voice memos to images that you've already taken, and so let me just show you a little bit more on how this works in here, in case you have forgotten. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take just a couple of photos, just because I want to have a couple of photos on the memory card. And I play these images back, and we can see we have picture 1 of 2 up in the upper left corner and 2 of 2. If we want to add a voice memo to this, we're going to press the microphone button over here, voice memo button, and it's going to take a second. And it's going to start recording a voice memo right now. And then we're going to get a little musical instrument up there in the top, which lets us know that that one has a voice memo, and our first image here does not. Now, if we want to play this back, you have to customize a button to play it back. And if you go into the standard customizing button section of the camera, you can't program any of the buttons there to do it. The secret way of doing it, which I think I explained before, but let's just do it again, is in the menu system. We're going to go over to the playback options, and we're going to go to playback page 4 and come down to the rate microphone button. So this controls the customization of this little blue button in the upper left corner of the camera. We're going to go into this particular feature by pressing set, and we have different options and controls for this particular button. And what we want is we want the playback and recording option. So it's working both as a playback and recording, and no longer does the rating option. So we're going to press set here, and we're going to come back. We're going to play back our image that has the musical instrument there. And if we hit this button once, and it's going to start recording a voice memo right now. So there you go. That's how you play back your voice memo. Now, just in case you're wondering, if you press this button again, you can record a second addition to that first memo. This is the second part of our voice memo. So just play it back here real quickly. And it's going to start recording a voice memo right now. This is the second part of our voice memo. So you can continue recording those voice memos up until the time limit that it has. Now, if you want to delete, you press the garbage can or trash button. And here's where we get the new option to erase voice memo. If we go with erase, that erases the image and the voice memo at the same time. This allows us to simply delete that voice memo, and we no longer see that little musical icon in the top of the frame there. So that just allows you a little bit more options when it comes to the voice memo, which is nice. And as I say on screen here, we can also add it into a protected image. All right, let's dive further into this update. So in the compatibility category, they have added the ability to register a focus position with this CRS700R robotic camera system. And so not something your day-to-day photographer is doing with this camera, but just a little bit more compatibility with it. They've also enhanced some security with the FTPS system. Exactly what did they enhance? They're not really clear on, but they've made it more secure, which I suppose is good. And then they did some minor bug fixes. This is not something that's going to affect a lot of people, but a few little issues have been addressed in here. There was another fairly minor update with 1.60. Once again, a few little bug fixes that fixed a few very, very tiny little things that were going on. The next update, which is 1.7.1, added support for a new lens that they came out with. This is not a lens that I would highly recommend with this camera because it's an RFS lens, which does not have full coverage on this camera, but conceivably there's somebody out there that wants to use it and it now can work with it, which it should because it's an RF lens, and so it should work. They've enhanced the compatibility with the CF Express cards on some of the larger size cards. So now if you have a larger size card, you can still get 2 terabytes of data on it. Looks like you still can't get more than 2 terabytes at this time. So Canon's going to need to continue to update their camera to work with larger and larger CF cards, I would expect in the future. They've enhanced more security with the FTPS again, and they've added a remote servo zooming option. So they came out with a new lens, a 24-105 f2.8 lens. Now there are contacts on that lens that you can attach this power zoom adapter, and you can zoom very smoothly using the motor in this device. Now with the standard PZE2, it draws power through the lens, which is drawing power from the camera and the battery in the camera. The PZE2B has a 20-pin controller on it, and this is where you can hook up some more movie-orientated gear to it to power it, so it's not getting its power directly from the camera itself. And so this is mainly designed for cinematography and having smoother zooms in and out. Now we also have some more bug fixes with 1.7.1. Once again, a lot of little small things probably don't need to be worried about for most people, but always nice to have all those bugs looked after and cleaned up. So there you go, folks. That is your update for the recent firmware updates to the R3. Anything else big happens, I'll come back here and make some more updates. So see you again.